Harden scanning the floor. Good, another from three.
A look from earlier as the Nets head to the locker room. They're in no mood to let this game get away from them on their home turf. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us for NBA action on 2K Sports. This is Brian Anderson with Hall of Famers Grant Hill and Doris Burke. Allie LaForce, our reporter. We've got just enough time for a pregame report. Let's go over to the sidelines where Allie LaForce is standing by. Allie?
Last season, Kyrie was outspoken that the Nets were missing a big piece. Brooklyn has gone from a young team that seemed ahead of schedule to one defined by big-name stars. So the question is, can the team maintain their unified culture with those big names on board? Guys?
Yeah, that's a big question, Allie. Thanks. And these teams have both been bit by the injury bug. Grant, it's just an unfortunate part of the game.
Yeah, it really is, B.A. And it happens far too often. You know, managing the injuries, dealing with injuries, not being at full strength. But it's a part of the NBA game. And, you know...
Kenny, you played for a number of coaches in your career. Which players right now do you think you should take a look at all the players in the league would maybe make a good head coach in the future?
Well, LeBron would be a great coach. CP3 would be a heck of a coach, probably. C.J. McCollum plays a game because there's a guy. I like guys who weren't like the star and then became it because they understand the guys on the bench, how they feel, as well as the stars. So C.J. McCollum has kind of come up into that.
Well, that's why a lot of great coaches, it's not that they were the best player, but they played on great teams. So they get to see it. I'd throw another name out there, Rajon Rondo.
Rajon Rondo. Okay.
What about Greg Anthony?
You know,
no,
he was
broadcast. No, Greg would be great.
He'd be great. I think either of you would be great.
You know, it would be fun.
I'm trying to own the team next.
That's what you want to do. You want to own. You want to own. A look at the Magic starting group. Vucevic is the pivot with Gordon in the post as well. Oh, the power on that throwdown.
Goodness.
And you know, it's clear that Gordon is one of the best dunkers in the game, always looking to bring the thunder.
Well, the league continues to test out new rules. The Coaches Challenge now, guys, extended from its one-year trial. What do you think about that, Kenny? You approve?
Well, coaches always had something to say about calls, so now they can take action to it. So, yeah, I think that it's needed once a game. But I also think if you get it right, you should keep being able to challenge multiple times. If you get it right, that means I could get another one. If I get that right, I could get another one. I should just stop.
What do you think, Greg?
I like that theory in terms of having more
get a
than one.
reward
if
for
you earn it. You know, and most coaches are still figuring out how to use it because more often than not, you don't want to use it early in the game, even if it's a significant play, because later in the game, as we all know, that last 2 minutes, if it's a close game, well, you do not want to lose because of the officials.
Harden left side.
And close to making the defense pay for the lax coverage that time.
Here's Bacon. He had 15 points last outing. Here's Vucevic. First shot, first basket. He's out of the blocks fast.
Comfortable operating near the basket. Vucevic has size plus touch. That's a nice recipe for scoring in multiple ways.
And watch out, you don't bring the whole basket down on top of you, young fella.
I don't think he ever wanted to let go of the rim.
Well, you got to make that moment last. Enjoy it for as long as you can.
Back to Gordon. And there's a whistle that's going to go on James Harden. That is his first foul of the game. Guys, the game nowadays is more open, more freedom of movement. Kenny, do you like where the game seems to be headed?
Yeah, as a fan, I like it. And if I was a player, I would like it. Because of my style of play, I can imagine a lot of players in my era wouldn't like it. But a lot more fun to watch, a lot of flow to the game.
The thing I like about it is you have to be more skilled in the game today. Because you can't just grab and hold and beat people up today. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like your Knick teams.
Yeah, exactly. We would have struggled today. We would have struggled.
Too easy for Durant. The D has to move him out of there or he's going to flush it.
Left side, Gordon. Here's Bacon. Guarded by Harris. It's stolen by Harris. And oh, here comes Durant all alone. And the jam by Kevin Durant.
You cannot afford to be careless around Harris. He's very capable of swiping the ball away if you are.
Anthony kicks to Gordon. Out left to the wing. Anthony against Irving. Just 5 on the clock. Jordan with nothing yet on the scoreboard for him. Irving drives in. And contact on the shot, so he'll be shooting free throws here.
An elite ball handler who operates well inside. Irving is one of those guys who draws a lot of contact.
Kenny, your shot mechanics look polished, even back in college. Some guys take longer to have that thing look smooth and make some sense optically.
Well, it's repetition more than the visual. So the more you, like I actually shot the ball and my left hand stays on too long, so I had a side spin. It didn't go, it have a natural revolution. So Marcus Smart comes to mind, Lonzo Ball, you know, but the repetition will help.
Yeah. And, you know, there are some guys that, you know, some of the great shooters don't have great, I mean, Ray Allen, Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe shot it with a
Larry
little
Bird's
Larry
form
Bird
was different.
But, you know, they perfected it.
Got a piece of it. And wrestling for it there, but no one has possession. We'll have a jump ball. Six on the shot clock. Clark, a screen on Irving. His three-pointers off the mark. And here's Brown. He'll bring it up for Brooklyn. 7-point differential. They are coming into this having notched a win against the Knicks in their last game.
Well, it's easy to score when you're facing very little resistance. That's why their offense looks so good in that one.
Well, I think it was a combination of things, quite honestly, but the defense didn't really offer them a challenge all night. I agree with that.
He's covered by Irving. Burge kicks to Clark. The Magic again can't hit.
You almost have to assume he's going to knock those down when he is that open.
Landry Shamet's checked in for Irving. We've got 33 seconds left in the first quarter. That one goes. Count it.
I like the play call. Very solid, making perfect use of the pick to get a great look.
Brown outside. That one goes in.
This is as good as it gets for a first quarter in terms of shooting the basketball.
You're exactly right. I mean, everything seems to be dropping. Impressive scoring here.
Clark outside. Now here's Ross. Tight defense on him. From deep. He made it. He caught it.
Big time.
Wow.
Wow, what a way to finish up the quarter.
That's an impossible shot.
And so it's the Brooklyn Nets with a 6-point lead at the end of the quarter. And they've done a phenomenal job down low. So many of their points coming right at the rim. Right back after this break. Naturally a ball-dominant player, James Harden talked to us about others setting him up a little bit more.
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. Of course, playing off the ball is something that I'm comfortable doing. Like I'm able to catch and shoot. I'm able to play off, you know, on the wings.
Giving their offense another dynamic.
And it also helps him preserve some energy for those big moments in the big games.
And hope you've enjoyed the broadcast so far. Halfway through the first half in this one. And a moment here to take a look at the scoring breakdown for the Nets.
A lot of success from mid-range so far for them, guys. If nothing else works, they can always fall back on the jump shot.
Yeah, they're showing some muscle also in the first half as well, and getting a lot of their points in the paint. Really like the balance they've shown.
The front court spot's filled by Harris and Durant. Harden out there with Kyrie Irving. And it's Jordan in at the pivot spot, manning the middle. So that's the Nets 5. On the sideline, let's catch up with Hall of Famer David Aldridge.
Hey, Kevin, thanks. Since the Nets acquired Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, the franchise has gone from being an up-and-comer to a potential powerhouse in the East. That's necessitated changes on the bench and on the court. The Nets have added some new veterans. The time is now for Brooklyn to stand up and make its move in the East. Kevin, back to you.
Well, we'll see how they do. David, thank you. Kenny, just look at this roster. Brooklyn full of stars. There have been some very high aspirations for this team, maybe as much as any, in the near future.
Yeah, well, they handed out a pair of max contracts with Irving and Durant.
Right.
And then they still had a solid nucleus and core. They're trying to win titles over the next few seasons.
It's going to be interesting to see if Kevin Durant gets all the way back. There's not a lot of history of guys in their 30s rupturing the Achilles, getting back to that level. Remember, this guy wasn't just a great player. He was an all-time great. Oh, that's some fancy ball handling right there. Since when does he take guys off the dribble? With the break here, let's look at the stats for Durant. Averaging 29 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. And his playmaking really stands out, making his teammates better offensively with his terrific passing.
Yeah, he's outstanding at controlling the tempo. Keeps the ball moving and, of course, finds the open man.
And every team needs a go-to scorer late in close games. Kenny, when you think about your list of what qualities are essential to be that guy in crunch time, what are they?
I think to be a great crunch time player is to not look at it as crunch time. It's like, these are the shots that I would take regardless of the situation. I think LeBron got criticized for that early in his career when he would pass up shots. But he takes the same shot regardless of the situation, which makes him more comfortable.
I would have to agree with that. The other thing, too, as the game has changed, I think your ability to be able to set up the shot, to Kenny's point. Because the court's open now, right? It's not as physical, so if I can move without it and get to my sweet spots, and I think that also helps you to be able to finish in rhythm.
Green, he's checked in for Brooklyn. So it's Brooklyn now. The 12-point lead, their biggest of the game. Irving drives in. That one goes in for him, too, making it look easy. He's now 4 for 4.
As much as this has become a ball movement league, you also need guys like Irving who can penetrate off the dribble.
And with more players controlling their free agent destiny, we're starting to see a little backlash. Yeah, you think there's a double standard? Teams can trade them, but players are supposed to be loyal.
Well, it's a double standard for sure. But the only one who loses out are the fans in that double standard. The fans have no control over who stays in league, but they have to cheer for who comes in. So I feel for the fans, but it is a business.
The Magic trail by 14. Guys are looking for a spark here.
Yeah, a cold stretch offensively for sure.
The pass to Vucevic. Here's Bacon. Shot clock at 6. Picked by Vucevic. Brooklyn leading by 14. Irving drives in, lays it up and banks it in. Irving's got 10 points in the quarter.
Wow, Kyrie right now is on a roll. He's a devastating offensive force once he catches fire.
And now the first timeout called here for the Magic. They're getting their first look of the season at the Nets in this one. So for the Nets, Luwawu Cabarrot, he's checked in for Harris. And it's Bruce Brown in for James Harden. So Orlando going with an almost entirely new group here. And it's Gordon missing. Looking at the last game for Orlando, it was a loss to the Celtics, and then Durant with the dunk.
And defensively, how do you lose sight of a guy like Durant? Total breakdown.
To the middle, here's Gordon, and he slams it down right on top of Kevin Durant.
That is not possible. What we just, is that possible?
I think it is, Greg. Not probable, but like possible, like you said.
He's one of the few players in the NBA who can pull something like that off.
And I've been impressed with the unselfishness, but also getting guys the ball where they can do something with it.
He is delivering a lot of room service times tonight. One sweet one after another.
And what about our special guest? Kenny, thanks for taking the time to join us, dropping by. Always a pleasure. You add so much to the broadcast.
Man, thanks for having me. This is just great.
Thank you. And Clark, has there ever been a smoother transition from on-court star to broadcast mainstay than what we've seen and heard with Kenny Smith?
Very much like his game, Kenny Smith smoothly stepping from the court to the broadcast booth. And, you know, he's been fantastic in his role with the NBA as a broadcaster. And, you know, he's been part of the NBA family for decades now. And he's done it at a high level.
Yeah, these defenders just look a bit overmatched, especially inside.
There's the dish to Vucevic. Green with the block. On its way from Irving for two. And it goes out of bounds. Last touch by Irving. Jordan, he's checked in for the Nets. Landry Shamet comes in for Kyrie Irving. The Magic trail by 20. From beyond the arc. Rebound, Brooklyn.
They have been board dominant in this game. That's definitely been a factor in crafting this huge lead.
And it's been a well-rounded performance. I mean, strong rebounding has certainly been at the center of it, but it's been good on a number of levels.
What a performance for Kyrie Irving. He has been the story for the Brooklyn Nets. He totaled 14 points in the quarter.
The 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Hey, welcome back. It is Bedlam here. The hometown crowd loving that first half. I'm Ernie Johnson along with Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny. And joining us once again after his valiant attempt at live action analysis, it's Kenny Smith.
Welcome back, Kenny. What are you laughing at? How you think it went, Kenny?
Oh. And it's just about...
And as we dive into the second half, we'll find out if the next two quarters are any different from the first two. So far, it has been a runaway. You look at Kyrie Irving in this game, he has been everywhere.
No problems fighting his way to the rim in this one. A lot of points in close.
Yeah, you know what, guys? They gave him too many free runs to the hoop in the first half. I think they've got to be a lot tougher on him. Body him up. Be physical with him.
All fueled up and ready to go. Let's reset the lineups courtesy of Gatorade for the second half of basketball. So on the floor for Orlando, Vucevic is the pivot with Gordon in the post as well. Anthony is out there with Bacon, and it's Ennis in at the small forward. Left side, Jordan. It's stolen by Vucevic. Anthony up on top. That one misses. And it's the Nets taking it the other way. And here is Green. And he converts the layup. Greg, you and I talk about the big man, his role in the current NBA, and how they can possibly carry the standard for the great centers before them. You played with the great one in Patrick Ewing, so you have a great appreciation, I would think, for it.
Oh, no doubt about it. And I think two guys kind of separated themselves a little bit. Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid, I think, are the two guys that stand out for me because of their ability, in essence,
essence to do everything well. They can shoot it, they pass it, they can shoot it from the free throw line, they give you rim protection. I throw Rudy Gobert up there as an elite center as well. Doesn't have the offensive impact that those guys have, but he does impact the game as well.
3 young, dynamic centers. Those are good names. And keeping us updated from the sideline, let's swing it over to David Aldridge.
Well, guys, we all know that there are some people who dislike James Harden's style of play. They're bored watching him shoot free throws. He said, "I see how teams guard me and find ways to exploit it. I just outthink the game, and I'm faulted for it." Kevin, that may be, but it's hard to argue with the results. Back to you.
You're right, one of the top scorers in league history, David. Thanks for that report.
They've shown some strength in the paint today. Their work on the boards has been impressive.
Guys, that's putting it mildly. I mean, they've been absolutely dominant.
Ken Burge is checked in for Orlando. The Nets shooting their 3rd free throw attempt of the game.
And how about as a group, 80% on the season, one of their best attributes.
Really, guys, it's just come together for them at the charity stripe this season. I mean, the confidence is there, and so too are the results.
The Magic have gone 2 of 5 shooting here in the 3rd quarter.
And the league's preeminent practitioner of the step-back 3, James Harden, is as good as it gets. And, you know, like the skyhook, an unguardable shot, and paired with his dribble drive, a 2-move torture chamber.
And so it's Irving. He brings it up for Brooklyn. Lobs it up for Jordan. That one, no good.
Yeah, and that was lining up to be a huge alley-oop, but they just couldn't quite connect.
And, you know, guys, always a tough catch on the lob. Placement and timing have to be close to perfect.
Anthony sets the pick for Gordon. Steps back and fires. Again, the Magic score. And thanks to that step back, Harden already the all-time leader in unassisted three-point shots.
And not to mention 4-point plays. And up until recently, teams built elaborate offenses to create their three-point looks. Harden the first to do it one-on-one with volume and efficiency.
Well, he's cooking with grease. He's got things flaming up, looking for an opportunity every time down the floor when he's that hot.
Over to the left wing. Ennis kicks to Anthony. Here's Birch, guarded by Jordan. The shot by Birch, no good.
I tell you what, the defense should send Christmas cards for that miss.
Harris finds Durant. Now here is Irving, covered by Anthony. And Harden with the basket on the assist by Irving. Harden's got 9 points now in the quarter.
And Harden takes a lot of pride in being a hard matchup, a tough cover. I mean, he takes no time in shooting once he gets the pumpkin.
Making the pass to Anthony. He kicks to Gordon. Takes a three. And that's collected by DeAndre Jordan. Jordan's got double-digit rebounds now in the game.
And Kevin Durant, one of the greatest scorers to ever play. Not the most prolific scorer, but perhaps the most talented. He's dangerous from any part of the floor.
Greg, as scores go, Kevin Durant's as efficient as any.
I mean, Durant has an insane field goal percentage for the shots that he...
Oh! Yes, sir! Come on, bring it! Boy, DeAndre Jordan still able to throw down these fantastic dunks. And he loves when he gets a chance to do so.
And stolen by Jordan. Harden, that's good. And a closer look here at the hustle stats for the Nets.
The activity level defensively, I've really been impressed with. There's been an attack mode on the defensive end.
You know, adding on to that, you look at their block totals tonight, and you see how feisty they've been on the defensive end this game.
And here's what the schedule for Orlando looks like. On Monday, they're off to New York to face the Knicks. Then on Wednesday, they'll take on Karl Anthony Towns and the Minnesota Timberwolves.
And that game against the Pacers, there aren't many other meetings that are as evenly matched as this one. Both teams can give and take punches, and this one, I think, is going to come down to the wire.
Green is checked in for Jordan, and the Magic making a change here as well. Vucevic is checked in. Out of bounds as Orlando keeps possession. Let's see some of the numbers here for Terrence Ross. For Orlando, they've gone a somewhat subpar 4 of 10 on their shots in the second half so far. 1:02 left to play in the third. Here's Vucevic, and terrific work on the offensive glass, and he picks up 2. Vucevic has got 8 points.
Just a positive force right now for these guys, and though his team has fallen a bit short, it's not because of him.
Would have been impossible for KD to miss his teammate there. He was wide open.
46 seconds left in the third quarter of the game. The Magic have converted 1 of 2 free throws so far today.
And how about as a group, 80% on the season, one of their best attributes.
And that's a little better than they did last year from the free throw line.
The Nets making a switch here. Luwawu's checked in.
And as expected, Kevin Durant sitting out all of last season, recovering from the Achilles injury. Glad to see him back on the floor.
I agree with you, and it was absolutely a no-brainer for Kevin to sit out the season. That type of injury, you give it all the time you need, and the Nets knew that. They knew when the deal was done that he was going to most likely miss the season. And yet, they did the right thing, and when you have a guy like KD, you want to make sure you're not rushing him back. You want him fully ready when it's time for him to go.
And Ross with the slam.
Putting on a show. Ross can elevate with the best of them.
From deep, Harden sinks the triple. Harden's got 25 points.
And perimeter scoring, I have to imagine it was a topic of discussion at halftime.
Certainly. I mean, they saw a weakness in the perimeter defense and took advantage of it.
And no luck with that time on the buzzer beater. James Harden getting it done for Brooklyn. He had some kind of quarter from long range. Winds up with 15 points from beyond the arc. And a quick look now at the State Farm assist of the game.
Yeah, a terrific, unselfish play right here. Set up his teammate, and how about the setup this way?
Yeah, and as a 2-guard, he's typically not a reluctant shooter, so it was really nice to see him orchestrating for a teammate instead.
And there may not be a lot of drama down the stretch as we head into the fourth quarter, but stranger things have happened. The front court spots filled by Harrison Durant. Harden out there with Kyrie Irving. And it's Jordan in at the 5, roaming the paint. So that's the lineup for Brooklyn. Covered by Irving. Down the stretch of last season, Greg, we saw some teams resting healthy players, even ones out of the playoff hunt. And they got fined. But is the amount, which I think is about $25,000, is that enough to discourage that tactic?
You know, I don't think it is. Not when team revenues are measured in the hundreds of millions. You got to do more to keep them honest. But by the same token, you know, if I got $200 million invested in a guy, I want to protect my investment. And so if I can rest them here or there and prolong their career, I think my organization's all the better for it.
From deep, Harden. And again, Brooklyn with the triple.
Yeah, that's too good a look to give him from behind the arc.
A few possessions into the fourth quarter, just over a minute played. Here's Bone. Sweet little floater.
How about that wonderful floater he has, showing off an exquisite touch.
Here's Harden on the wing. Launches a 3. It gets rebounded by Ennis. And it's Ennis with the ball for the Orlando Magic. Next up for them, the Knicks, a road game in New York. They're in the midst of this long 6-game road trip. That will be game 4.
The ball distribution was there. I mean, outstanding work all the way around.
Irving kicks to Durant. Good, and the assist goes to Irving.
Yeah, these defenders had better start closing down on shooters.
Magic have gotten all 3 of their shots to drop here in the fourth quarter. They came out of the break on a roll. Here's Bone, guarded by Harden.
and he's been a force on the glass all game long.
Yeah, I love the way he's fighting through box outs, using his elbows. I mean, he's doing whatever it takes.
And they're getting their points now almost exclusively from the triple. 4 of their last 5 makes are from beyond the arc.
It's hard for me to watch this. I mean, the defense practically giving them those shots.
Boy, you have to be impressed with the offensive production. They have got it firing on all cylinders.
And, you know, the lead just keeps growing. I mean, this game is not going to get out of their grip. They're going to keep pulling away.
On the wing, Harden. He's covered by Clark. Now Ennis. Around 3 minutes gone here in the fourth quarter. And there's the call on James Ennis. That's foul number 2 for him.
And really, he played mistake-free basketball up to that point. That's the only time he's turned it over so far.
To the paint. Cuts off the pass. And with the frequency of three-point shots skyrocketing, Greg, does the drastic change concern you? And should something be done to lessen the dependence these teams have on threes?
It's crazy. I mean, we're starting to see teams take more threes than twos. You know, some have said maybe limit fouls on three-pointers to only 2 free throws. That might eliminate some of the flopping on those long-range attempts, but I really feel like this is the evolution of the game, and that 3 is going to be vital. Well, if you don't take care of the ball, fellas, that's what can happen.
Absolutely, Greg. That makes the turnover even more painful.
What, you mean the throwdown at the end? I'll tell you what, fellas, I mean, the highlight shows are going to pain them even more.
And now, let's present our New Balance Player of the Game, Kyrie Irving.
And his percentage from the field tonight seems almost made up. I didn't think it was possible to have that kind of success shooting the basketball. You need a little bit of luck, a bunch of hard work, and a whole lot of talent.
He sure has given this crowd a treat tonight. This kind of performance only cements his status as a fan favorite. Harden outside. Irving sets a screen for Harden. From outside the arc, hands it from downtown. Harden's got 34.
So many of the plays they're running designed to create opportunities from deep.
Well, you know, that's exactly their plan here in the fourth. Work to find space behind the arc and then bury some threes.
Durant wide open. He fires. Good, and the assist goes to Irving. KD's got 10 points in just the second half. 1:49 left to play in the final quarter. Durant against Clark. Knocked loose. For 3. And the Nets, another 3.
Durant's ability to score in a lot of different ways is huge, and he makes it look easy.
Orlando's gone 1 of 2 from three-point range here in the fourth. And there's the call on Kyrie Irving. That's his first foul. Clark, that had to be hard for so many players being isolated from family and loved ones while on the Orlando campus to finish last season.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that part of it would have felt like, Kevin. I mean, the playing part, once you get to the gym, wherever that happens to be, an outdoor playground, inside, whatever, you lock into trying to be your best for your team and trying to knock out the other team. But as far as the other side of it, being separated from family, not having the real freedom to move about, that would take some getting used to. But as a guy who travels all the time, being comfortable inside the 4 walls of a hotel room or on the road is something that I think players have grown accustomed to and handle pretty well.
And one team is just completely outclassing the other tonight. Spirited performance, and it really ignited what is turning out to be a monster win here for the Nets.
Their hard work on the glass paid off.
I tell you what, they're both excellent rebounding teams, and it was a tough battle underneath all game, and I think ultimately that earned the W.
And with this effort tonight, grabbing their 8th win of the year.
And with the win approaching, they'll take the first game here of 2 that they'll play against this team. Nice to get that first one out of the way and set the tone.
It sure is. It's just a 2-gamer since they're in opposite conferences. And can bet they'll take the same approach right into game 2 that they had tonight.
And you know, looking back at all the contributions tonight, it was a really phenomenal all-around game for Kyrie Irving.
Well, you have to marvel at how well he picked apart that defense repeatedly. Found the right guy in the right spot at the right time.
Saw the opportunity to put this away and did not turn it down.
And, you know, this run shows what kind of attitude this team has. I mean, the win is there. Go get it.
And he makes the first. And so he makes both from the line. Harden scanning the floor. Good, another from 3.
He has been on the money from deep.
Yep, definitely looking to shoot it as much as possible. And so it's Brooklyn easily grabbing this one. They won this game going away. They were the better basketball team by far tonight.
And you got to commend this sort of dominance, particularly here at home. It's a great feeling when you play almost a perfect game and to have that crowd be so pumped up.
And that'll wrap it up, folks. For David Aldridge, Greg Anthony, and Clark Kellogg, this is Kevin Harlan saying thanks for being with us. We'll see you next time. Have a great evening.